Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something I've learned over the years. Discipline is the bridge between your dreams and your reality. You can have all the talent in the world. You can have the best ideas, the biggest vision. But if you don't have discipline, you will never cross that bridge. Your brain is like a muscle. If you don't train it, it stays weak, it stays lazy, and it will talk you out of your own greatness. You have to decide every single day to take control of your thoughts, because your thoughts control your actions and your actions control your life. Let me tell you something I know for a fact. Nothing, and I mean nothing, will change in your life until you understand that discipline is a mental decision before it's a physical action. See, most people think discipline is about just doing the thing, getting up early, going to the gym, sticking to the plan, but that's only the end result. The real battle starts up here in your head before you even move a muscle. Your brain is the command center. If you win in your mind, your body will follow. But if you lose in your mind, it doesn't matter how much potential you've got, you keep finding reasons to quit before you even start. That's why you've got to start training your brain like it's the most important piece of equipment you'll ever own, because it is. Now, here's the thing. Your brain is not naturally programmed for discipline. It's programmed for comfort, for survival, for doing the least amount of work to keep you alive. And in a world where comfort is easy to get with one click, with one excuse, you've got to fight against that natural setting. Every morning, the moment you open your eyes, your mind starts negotiating. It tells you, stay in bed a little longer. You can do it tomorrow. Nobody will know if you skipped today. And that's the voice that has been running your life every time you've fallen short. The first step to discipline is recognizing that voice and deciding you're not taking orders from it anymore. You've got to reprogram that inner dialogue to say, get up, do it now, keep going, even when you don't feel like it. And let me be real with you. Training your brain for discipline isn't about one big moment of inspiration. It's about the little moments you win over yourself all day long. When you tell yourself, I'll just do it later, that's a mental rep you just skipped. But when you say, no, I'll do it right now, that's a rep you completed. And every completed rep makes your mental muscle stronger, just like lifting weights. You can't expect to get stronger if you don't put in the rep. Every time you choose action over comfort, you're reinforcing to your brain that you are in control. And that is the foundation of discipline. You also have to realize that discipline in the mind starts with clarity. If your brain doesn't know exactly what you want, it will default to whatever's easiest. You've got to tell it what the target is clearly and specifically. If you want to wake up early, don't just say, I'll get up early. Say, I'll get up at 5:30. A-E-M-A, no matter what. If you want to save money, don't just say, I'm going to save. Say, I'm saving $200, 0 cents from every paycheck. The more specific the command you give your brain, the less room it has to talk you out of it. And understand this, discipline in the mind isn't something you master in a week. You've been running on certain mental patterns for years, maybe decades. You've been letting that little voice talk you into quitting for a long time. You're going to have to fight it every day until the new voice, the disciplined voice, becomes the default. And once it becomes the default, you'll start seeing a shift in your actions without even thinking about it. That's the moment you know your brain is finally working for you instead of against you. One of the most powerful things you can ever learn if you want discipline in your life is how to say no. And I'm not just talking about saying no to people. I'm talking about saying no to yourself. That's the hardest no you'll ever say, because deep down, we all have that side of us that wants to take the shortcut. Eat the cake, skip the workout, hit the snooze button, binge the show instead of working on the dream. It's easy to say yes to those things. because they give you comfort right now. But every yes to a short-term pleasure is often a no to a long-term goal. You've got to reverse that equation. You've got to start saying no to what's holding you back so you can say yes to what's going to take you forward. Now, here's the truth. Most people struggle with discipline because they don't want to feel that sting of telling themselves no. We live in a culture that's all about instant gratification. We're told to treat ourselves, live a little. You deserve it. And yeah, you deserve happiness, but you also deserve to see what happens when you finally commit to yourself without excuses. When you learn to say no to temptation, you are building a mental wall between you and failure. Every time you say no to something that's not serving your purpose, you laying another brick in that wall. That wall keeps distractions out and keeps your focus locked in on what matters. It's not going to be easy at first. You'll have moments where you feel like you're missing out. Your friends might go out and you'll say no because you've got an early start tomorrow. The old you will scream inside, come on, just this once. That's when you have to remember, discipline is about playing the long game. You're not just saying no to one night out. You're saying yes to a better version of yourself that's being built brick by brick. Saying no also means protecting your time. Time is the most valuable thing you have, and once it's gone forever. People will ask you for your time like it's free, but it's not. Every time you say yes to something meaningless, you're saying no to something meaningful. You got to get comfortable disappointing other people if it means not disappointing yourself. That's a hard truth, but it's the truth. If your goal is big enough, you can't afford to please everybody. And don't think this is just about big moments. The small no's are just as important. Saying no to hitting snooze. Saying no to scrolling your phone when you should be reading something that grows you. Saying no to that extra slice of pizza when you know you're trying to get in shape. All these little no's add up, and they train your brain to resist impulses that don't serve you. The more you resist, the stronger that self-control muscle gets. Eventually what happens is you stop seeing no as punishment, you start seeing it as power. You realize you're not depriving yourself, you're directing yourself. You're choosing what you want most over what you want now. And when you can consistently do that, when you can look temptation in the face and walk away without hesitation, that's when you know discipline is not just something you do, it's who you've become. Let me tell you something I've learned in my own life. Your habits will either carry you to success or drag you to failure. And the crazy thing is, you get to choose which ones you build. Discipline isn't about doing one big thing right. It's about setting up your life so that the little things you do every single day push you forward instead of holding you back. See, most people underestimate the power of small habits. They think it's the big moments that make or break them, but it's really the little choices, the repeated actions that shape who you are and what you become. If your brain is like a garden, your habits are the seeds. And you can plant good seeds or bad seeds, but either way, something is going to grow. You can plant the seeds of procrastination, laziness, excuses, and every day you'll grow a crop of missed opportunities. Or you can plant the seeds of consistency, follow through, and commitment, and you'll grow a harvest of results. The problem is, too many people want to plant one seed of effort and expect a forest of success. That's not how it works. You've got to water those seeds every day. And that water is your discipline. Now, here's the deal. You've got to build habits that work for you, that serve your goals, that make it easier to win and harder to quit. That might mean putting your phone in another room so you can focus, setting your alarm across the room so you have to get out of bed to turn it off, planning your meals ahead of time so you don't reach for junk food when you're tired. These are not just random tricks. These are ways of wiring your environment so it supports the person you want to be. Because let's be honest, willpower is great, but it's not enough on its own. You've got to set yourself up to win. And once you start building those habits, something amazing happens. You don't have to think about discipline as much because your habits take over. If you've made it a habit to work out every morning, after a while it feels weird not to do it. If you've made it a habit to write for an hour every day, skipping it feels unnatural. That's the beauty of habits. They shift the weight from motivation to automatic action. But here's the flip side. Bad habits work the same way. If you get used to being late, you'll keep being late without thinking about it. If you get used to quitting when things get hard, that becomes your go-to move. That's why you can't just let your habits happen by accident. You got to choose them on purpose. You got to ask yourself, is this habit building me up or breaking me down? And if it's breaking you down, you got to replace it, not just remove it. Because if you remove a habit and don't replace it with something better, the old one will creep back in before you know it. It's also important to understand that habits aren't built overnight. They're built over time through repetition and consistency. The first week, it feels forced. The second week, it feels a little easier. The third week, it starts to feel normal. And then one day you look up and realize you become the kind of person who just does it. That's when you know you've trained your brain to work for you. Your brain is like a computer, and just like a computer, it can only produce what you program into it. If you feed it junk, you're going to get junk results. If you feed it greatness, you're going to get greatness out of it. Too many people want to live disciplined, focused, successful lives, but they're constantly filling their minds with negativity, drama, gossip, fear, and doubt. You cannot expect to live a disciplined life when you're training your brain to be distracted, insecure, and unfocused. Your mind becomes what you feed it. So if you want discipline, you got to start feeding your mind the kind of input that supports it. When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you give your brain? If the first thing is social media drama, bad news, or people complaining, you're already programming yourself to react instead of act. You're letting the world set your tone instead of setting it yourself. That's why you've got to be intentional about your mental diet. Just like your body needs the right nutrients to stay healthy, your mind needs the right information to stay strong and disciplined. You've got to consume things that inspire you, challenge you, teach you, and push you to think bigger. And it's not just about avoiding bad information. It's about surrounding yourself with good information. Read books that expand your thinking. Listen to podcasts that give you strategies to grow. Watch videos that motivate you to move forward. Hang around people who are serious about their goals. People who aren't afraid to call you out when you're slipping. People who talk about ideas instead of other people. If you spend enough time around discipline, it rubs off on you. The problem is most folks underestimate how powerful the little things are. That song you're listening to every day. That TV show you binge. That conversation you keep having with the wrong person. All of that is feeding your mind something. And just like with food, if you eat junk once in a while, you can recover. But if junk is your main diet, you're going to get sick. The same applies to your brain. If you feed it mental junk every day, your thinking gets unhealthy, your focus gets weak, and your discipline gets soft. It's the truth. Discipline is not just about forcing yourself to work hard. It's about creating an environment in your head that makes working hard the natural choice. When your mind is full of good ideas, strong beliefs, and inspiring vision, you don't have to fight yourself as much to stay on track. Your brain is already working in the right direction. But if your mind is full of fear, anger, and distractions, then every day is an uphill battle just to get started. You've got to be ruthless about protecting what gets in. That means turning off the news if it's just negativity, unfollowing accounts that don't add value, walking away from conversations that pull you down, and replacing them with content and connections that lift you up. It's not about pretending bad things don't exist. It's about making sure your mind is focused on what's going to keep you disciplined and moving forward. Because the truth is, your brain will believe whatever you keep showing it. If you feed it strength, it will give you strength. If you feed it weakness, it will give you weakness. You decide which one it's going to be. A lot of people mess up on discipline because they think it means being perfect every single day, never missing a beat, never slipping up. And the moment they mess up once, they throw their hands up and say, well, I guess I blew it. That's the wrong mindset. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about consistency. You're not in a competition to see how flawless you can be. You're in a commitment to see how faithful you can be. Life is not going to give you perfect conditions, and you're not always going to feel like doing the work. But if you can keep showing up, keep doing what needs to be done most of the time, you'll get where you're trying to go. Perfection is an illusion that will kill your motivation. If you're chasing perfection, you'll quit the first time you miss a workout, the first time you eat the wrong thing, the first time you oversleep. But when you understand consistency, you realize those moments are just bumps in the road, not the end of the road. The people who succeed are not the ones who never fall. They're the ones who get back up faster than everybody else. They've trained their minds to bounce back instead of breaking down. Think of it like this. If you're driving to a destination and you take a wrong turn, you don't pull over, throw the keys away and say, forget it, I'm never driving again. No, you get back on the right road and keep going. That's what consistency looks like. It's correcting course without quitting the journey. That's how discipline works. You might miss a day, you might have a bad week, but you get back to it because your commitment is bigger than your comfort. And here's something you've got to understand. Consistency builds trust with yourself. Every time you follow through on what you said you would do, even in a small way, you're telling your brain, I can count on me. That trust is the foundation of discipline. Without it, your brain will doubt you every time you set a goal. But when you've been consistent long enough, your brain stops questioning you because it knows you'll show up, even when you don't feel like it. Consistency also compounds. One day of doing the right thing might not feel like it's making a difference, but when you stack those days on top of each other, that's when the magic happens. Just like you don't get out of shape from one bad meal, you don't get in shape from one good workout. It's the pattern, the repetition, the ongoing commitment that changes you. The small daily actions that seem ordinary are the ones that create extraordinary results over time. And listen, discipline without consistency is like a muscle you never use. It gets weaker. You can be disciplined for a week and then fall off for a month, and all that progress you made will fade. But if you keep showing up, even at 70% effort some days, you're still moving forward. You're still keeping the muscle active. And that's the part people don't get. It's not about doing your best every single time. It's about never stopping complete. If you can master that, if you can train your brain to keep going when most people give up, you'll always be ahead of the game, because consistency will take you places perfection never could. The truth is, you can try every productivity hack, every morning routine, every motivational video out there, but if you don't have a deep reason behind your discipline, you won't last. You've got to connect your discipline to your why. Your why is the engine that drives you when your motivation runs out. It's the thing that makes you get out of bed when you're tired, push through when you're sore, and stay focused when distractions are pulling at you from every direction. Without a strong why, discipline feels like punishment. But when your why is clear, discipline feels like an investment. Most people give up on their goals not because they aren't capable, but because they never took the time to connect what they're doing to something that truly matters to them. If you're trying to get in shape just because it sounds nice, the first time you crave junk food, you'll cave. But if your why is to live long enough to see your kids grow up, to walk your daughter down the aisle, to run around with your grandkids, suddenly that workout isn't just about muscles. It's about moments you want to live to see. That's the difference a why makes. Your why has to be personal. It can't be something you borrowed from someone else. You can't do it just because society says you should, or because your friend is doing it. You got to dig deep and figure out what really matters to you. Maybe it's providing for your family so they never have to struggle like you did. Maybe it's proving to yourself that you can accomplish what people said you couldn't. Maybe it's building a legacy so your name means something long after you're gone. When your discipline is tied to something that hits you in the heart, quitting stops being an option you're willing to take. And you've got to remind yourself of your why constantly. Write it down. Put it somewhere you'll see it every day. When the alarm goes off and you don't feel like getting up, look at your why. When you're tempted to waste hours scrolling your phone, think about your why. When the path gets hard, and it will, your why is what pulls you through, because the truth is, your brain will always try to talk you out of hard things. But your why can be louder if you keep it in front of you. Your why also gives meaning to the sacrifices discipline demands. Waking up early, skipping parties, working late, save money instead of spending. These things feel like losses if you're doing them for no reason. But when you know they're steps toward the life you want, they feel like wins. You stop focusing on what you're missing and start focusing on what you're gaining. And here's something powerful. Your why will grow with you. At first, it might be about survival, just getting out of a tough spot. Later, it might become about growth, pushing your limits, building something bigger than yourself. Either way, when you link your discipline to your why, you create a bond that's hard to break. You stop asking yourself, do I feel like it? And start telling yourself, I'm doing it because I have to. That's the point where discipline stops being a chore and starts being a part of who you are. Because you're no longer just working for the goal, you're working for the reason behind the goal.